Hi everyone, and welcome to this webinar on entering Castaways Sculpture Awards in 2024. I'm Ciero, the curator. I'm hoping you've got some great ideas for entering Castaways this year. So we're going to go through the essential info that you'll need to enter, the do's and don'ts, how to give your entry the best chance of selection, what happens during and after selection, and traversing the exhibition process. So entries close Friday, the 17th of May, for both the main exhibition and the Maquette Small Sculpture exhibition. The 31st of May is a notification of acceptance. Once you're accepted, the 5th of August, a catalogue photo is due. Now that can be, doesn't need to be, the full work finished or anything like that. It can be just a portion of the work that is recognisable to people who are looking at the catalogue on the beach, and they can instantly recognise that as your work. So not a bolt, not anything like that, something a little bit more substantial that people will recognise your work from. So the 20th of September, final progress images for the main exhibition. Oh, sorry, catalogue photos for the Maquette exhibition, you have to have the complete work. For the main exhibition, part of the work, just to make that clear. So 20th of September, final progress images for the main exhibition are due. So you should have everything finished by then. Tuesday, the 22nd of October, delivery of works for the Maquette and Small Sculpture exhibition. And then on Wednesday, the 23rd of October, is the installation from 6:30 in the morning on the beach. Most people are usually installed by about 12 on that day. 26th of October is the awards ceremony, and the exhibition is from the Saturday the 26th through to November 3rd, Sunday November 3rd, and Monday the 4th of November, artwork de-installation for the main exhibition from 7 in the morning, and also pickup of unsold works from the Maquette and Small Sculpture exhibition. That's not till the afternoon. So you've got plenty of time to de-install them. Entries are open now, and you can go to the website and you'll be prompted for description and images of your design. And as I mentioned earlier, the Maquette and Small Sculpture exhibition, you need to have your work complete at the time of entering. For the main exhibition, it just needs to be a concept. So these are the awards. $10,000 major award. Must have a 30% visual aluminium component. That means the aluminium component isn't hidden somewhere in the work where you can't see it. It has to be visually seen. There's an Innovation Award, Sustainability Award, the Maquette and Small Sculpture Award, Local Resident, and People's Choice in both the main exhibition and the Maquette and Small Sculpture Show. So one artwork per artist or joint work. All artworks must be comprised of at least 65% recycled materials. Single-use products must be reused and not newly purchased. If entering their $10,000 award, your artwork, as we mentioned before, must have a 30% or more aluminium component, which is visible. Artworks must not have been exhibited in a competition in the Perth and Margaret River region, including online, in the past 3 years. So Perth is defined as Armidale, Mandurah, Mundaring, Rockingham and Yanchep. Margaret River is defined as Dunsborough and Margaret River. Artworks must be designed to withstand the elements, very important. Artists whose works exceed 3 by 3 metres will be required to provide a certificate of structures. For the main exhibition on the beach, footings must be 1 metre deep in the sand. Artworks must not have any brands, logos or commercial material on or around the work. Artworks which have audio aspects will need prior approval. There's another form to fill out basically if you have audio aspects, and of course I would be wanting to make sure that that the noise from any artwork is not impinging on another artwork near it. So you don't want to be viewing somebody else's work and hearing the sound from your work. So that would be looked at closely if you wanted to add audio aspects. So the selection panel will look at originality, the strength of an artist's vision and concept, clear and detailed concept design, succinct description of work, and succinct construction and installation information, including subsurface requirements. And this is all on the entry form. You'll see there's a question there about, how you're going to install the subsurface of your work. Consideration of public safety and interaction, thoughtful and creative use of recycled and repurposed components, experience and past works. Emerging artists with little or no experience will be considered based on their ability to demonstrate an understanding of the criteria. There is also mentorship opportunities for up to 4 emerging artists, where their works, they may be works which are not completely resolved, but with a little bit of guidance, they could be, made develop into something quite amazing. So that's chosen every year during the selection process. On the entry form, you'll need your title, materials and measurements. Is it interactive? You'll need to there's a box that you need to tick that says, that whether your work is safe to be touched or not. So for the main exhibition, you need to upload 2 images, a photo of the artwork or a concept design and your subsurface treatment. For the maquette show, you need a photo or photos of the finished artwork from various angles. In the main exhibition, you'll need to describe the artwork, how it's constructed and how it'll be installed. For both, you'll need to provide an artist statement for the catalogue. You don't have to provide a CV and images of previous works, but it improves your chances of being selected if you do. If you can tell the selection panel, what you've done previously, it all helps. So my advice would be to include that. No matter what your experience is, even if it's only a small CV, it doesn't matter. It will at least tell the selection panel what you've done previously and will help your entry. So one of the things that often people do very wrongly is submit their catalogue photo at a very low resolution, which then looks awful in the catalogue. So what we've done is produced a video which it reveals really what you can do to take a high resolution photo with your mobile phone. So there's some settings within your mobile phone that are a little bit hidden, but this photographer, Peter Zavella, explains how you can actually find those settings, and you'll find it really useful for anything else you do. If you don't have an expensive camera, this is a way around it without paying a photographer or someone to take images of your work.
Hello artists, my name is Peter Zavella and I'm a professional photographer and I've been documenting artworks for years. I'm here to show you how to get the best images for your Rockingham Castaways Sculpture Awards. We'll be discussing settings on the camera, file sizes, the use of neutral backgrounds, and hopefully we can get you there to get your best images to be submitted to the awards. The first protocol in my photography is to keep your lens clean. It makes a huge difference to the image quality. The second protocol is to set your file sizes, as there are 2 file sizes on the cameras of the phones. Being a digital medium, the photography these days relies on pixels. The more pixels you have, the better. So the first protocol for the camera is to set up the file size. So what you do, you press settings on your phone, you look for the camera symbol, takes a while to find, and on top you'll have formats. You press your formats and it has 2 settings, high efficiency and most compatible. What you select is most compatible. Most compatible gives you the largest file size. When you go back, what you do is you select grid. I recommend grid setting. And on the 11 iPhone, you set Smart HDR. This will give you the best image quality in terms of memory. The second group of setting is to select your camera. you have your camera on with the grid. Now, as you notice, you select photo and there's a little arrow on top. You press the little arrow and up comes settings that you need to set. First of all, you turn your flash off, you turn your live mode off, and you select ratio size 4:3. You have the two options of setting a timer, which I recommend, and also you can do exposure control with a plus and minus button. So once you've focused and got your image in sight, you press the timer. You can choose 3 seconds or 10 seconds. I prefer 3 seconds. It's up to you. And you take your photo. So in front of us, we have a beautiful sculpture by Greg James. We position it so that it have a perfectly neutral background. In this case, white works well with the sculpture. We have a little bit of space around her, so it's easy for the editor to work on the image. So we press the point that we want sharp, hold down, we press the arrow, we select the timer, 3 seconds in this case, and take the photo. Now regarding lenses, we have 1, 2, 3 or 4 lenses on the camera. It's best to choose the lens that's the standard view. Usually on the iPhones and other cameras it's called 1x. On my particular phone I have a +5, which is super wide angle. I usually don't recommend those because it distorts the image that you're photographing, but great for landscape. Once you've done that, you're ready to take your photo. So what's wrong with the image on the left? Well, first of all, it's blurred, dark and full of clutter. Pretty much a graphic designer's nightmare. Whilst the image on the right is sharp, perfectly exposed, and the artwork preoccupies the majority of the image. This is what the City of Rockingham's Castaways Sculpture Awards would like for you to submit. So, on that note, good luck with the photography, and if you need any help, you can just please contact me and I can show you a lesson or two on how to best document your artwork. Thank you.
So the selection panel need to clearly understand your intention. Be very clear in your written description of the work and your sketches. Sketches should include every detail you intend, including the smallest of details. So you can see on the sketch on the right by Denise Pepper, she's included absolutely everything, measurements, what everything is made of. That's what you need to do. You need to tell the selection panel as much as you can. Tell them everything about your work. Now, there is 4 aluminium plinths. They're just over 1 metre by 1 metre for use by Castaways entrance in the main exhibition. They don't constitute 30% of the aluminium component in the major award, but they are available to use first come, first serve, basically. And they're very useful for people. You can see on that drawing on the right, she actually did have that on an aluminium plinth. So these are owned by the city, and they're available free for use if you want to use them. So if you but as I said, you have to be, first in, get some, and there's 4 available. Okay, so clear drawings of your work. Can't stress that enough. You can see again on this work by Carol Clitheroe in 2019, the sketch on the right and the finished work on the left. So sometimes your ideas might change slightly, But if they do, you need to contact me and let me know what they are before proceeding any further. Materials must be weatherproof and attached securely. Everything needs to be connected to each other to withstand strong winds down on the beach. It can get quite windy. You might need multiple fixing points, cable ties, pop rivets. Avoid using glues because they just don't last in the weather. Just to give you an idea of what people have put into the catalogue previously. Errors in entry forms, and these are things that come up, again and again. Sharp areas. All works must be safe for the smallest of children. Parents often pick up their children for a closer look at the works, and children often reach out to feel the texture of the works. So at Castaways, the safety of the public is of utmost importance. So all sharp components must be either turned in or rounded. Eye height, works should be not sharply jut out at eye height for even an adult or a child. Loose material, all material must be attached. Balanced work should be heavier at the base. Explain everything, the more explanation the better. And again, include measurements in your sketches. Okay, the maquette and small sculpture exhibition, if you're considering that one, tipping factors. Ensure the work is not easily tipped over on a plinth. Loose components, ensure all objects are secure. Works won't be accepted over the 40 by 40 by 40 allowance. If your work has exceeded this on delivery, judges will be informed and your work won't be judged. So less is more. It's common for emerging artists to add more to the work that is needed and often resulting in quite a cluttered look. Stick to the deadlines throughout the year. You can see a work here by Shanti Gelmi in 2019. And although it was a lovely work and a lovely concept, she cut words from a novel, an old novel, and put them in a box. And she had, you can see those bits that she cut out scattered onto the plinth. Now, the problem with that was that they weren't secured. So every time the door of the gallery opened, these sort of flew. These were moving. So before the exhibition opened, she had to go away and glue them all together and make sure that they didn't move. So it's things like that, that you need to think about. What's going to happen to the work in the gallery space? Is it going to move? That kind of thing. Everything has to be secure. So sometimes, ideas, as we said, might change slightly, and you forward that to me. You need to think about wind factors, ensure your work has plenty of areas where the wind can pass through, instead of creating works with too much resistance. Footings must be 1 metre deep to ensure the works last the entire exhibition, and certainly don't underestimate the importance of footings. They should be covered, not to be seen, because they can also be a trip hazard. Works too low to the ground are likely to be accidentally walked on by visitors and cause daily damage. And that means that we have to call you every day to come and fix it. So I'm sure that's something that you don't want to do. For the safety of your work in the public, don't include hanging elements longer than 2 centimetres. What happens is that in the wind, that it just turns over. The works just turn over on themselves all the time. But after 2 centimetres, up to 2 centimetres, they seem to be quite okay. Interactive works need to be hardy to withstand the curiosity of the public. So if you intend to make a chair, for instance, that you want the public to sit on and it's a selfie opportunity, you need to make sure that there's nothing on that chair that's going to cause any issues to the public. Now we have footings. Now we made this video a couple of years ago, which is it's artist Stuart Bryce, who was in Castaways a number of times, and he devised a way to install footings at Castaways that saves artists so much time and so much effort, rather than digging and digging and digging. This particular method is the way to go. So I'm just going to play that for you.
So installing on the beach seem to be quite difficult, but if you know how, it'll be quite simple, and if you do follow a few steps, it'll make it easy for you. It's really important to have a plan of how your work's going to be in the ground, because it needs to be stable on the exhibition. You just don't want it falling over and causing an issue. This is a sketch of what I've drew up for my installation for my artwork for this last year. It shows you all the dimensions, the hole positions and the height of the actual structure itself, so that the organisers can get an idea of what we're actually going to be building and how it's going to be installed, so there'll be no problems. A lot of the artwork will be installed on the beach. We're assuming that yours is going to be installed on the beach, so you will need to have full drive to get onto the beach. Some beaches are softer than others. Particular Rockingham Beach can be soft on certain days and hard on other days. So if it's soft, let your tyres down 10 to 15 psi, you won't get stuck, you'll be fine. When you arrive at the art exhibition, you drive onto the beach to your allocated site, unload all of your equipment and gear, everything you need to install it. You leave your gear there and you drive your car back to the car park, and you come back and install your artwork. Make sure you turn up with the car with all of the gear you need. Don't just expect someone else that's going to help you. Be prepared. Make your life simple. You'll be on and off the beach quick as a flash. If you're installing with the pylon method like I use, you just need basically a scissor hole digger, just a standard shovel, a square edged one or a round edged one, and a rake. That's just to get the hole and put the pylon in the ground. If you're talking about the pylons for equipment, you'll need your pylon, depending on the height and width of your artwork, as your pylon has to be the correct size to suit that. You'll need a spanner, nut and bolts to bolt your artwork onto the pylon. So once you've got everything in the ground, you've raked everything up and you've covered over your bolts, you can't see anything, no little trip hazards laying around, it'll look like it's been there all the time and you'll walk away really happy. So these post mounting systems will work for most people's artwork. They're a basic system you can use on any type of thing. As long as you've got a flat, stable surface in the ground, your artwork can bolt on at any angle you like, any vertically, horizontally, or whatever you like, so long as you've got the correct amount of posts. Now you start with the post hole digger, which is a scissor type. Goes in the ground together, pick it up, pretty basic. Make the hole probably only about 1 inch bigger than it actually needs to be, vertically straight down, and get to your water table level, or about 3/4 of the height of the actual pole itself, and then start setting up your pole ready to be put in the ground. So you've got a pole. This pole will suit a certain height and a certain sail area. It's not so much just the height, it's the actual sail area of your project. If it's a really big wide item, lots of wind, you'll need a big pole, solid one like this one. If it's a very small narrow thing with low to the ground, you can get away with quite a smaller pipe, and a lot easier to install as well. Now you start off with a pipe with a flat base. There's a few holes drilled on top, tapped out, ready to put your bolts in. I've made a simple handle system you can put on top, and then you just get your bolts, screw your bolts in. Everyone knows how to work a spanner, I guess, and put it down tight. Right, so you've got your bolts, simple as dropping them in. Now this pipe here is just, you can use any old pipe you like. You can use normal mild steel pipe. I got stainless steel because I had some laying around. Just a bit of scraps I get from a place called Decandelo Metals in Bayswater. And that's it. Yeah, so this is the, just spanner it on, and now it's completely one unit that you can actually lower it into the ground. I left the rib on here so I can actually pick it up while it's got the pole in it. I lower it into the ground, and when it gets down to about here, as you'll see in the video, is you just turn the handle slowly and it will just shimmy its way down to ground level, and just push in the sides with the sand, then flatten the top, get rid of this, take this off again, and you'll be ready to install your artwork. Then you can get your piece of artwork. Where is my artwork here? And this is your artwork. You can put it on. They don't have to have the same hole pattern. You might want to put different holes somewhere. This plate is large enough to accommodate a different position, a different set of holes. You can use it for multiple sculptures. If one is different to the one you did last year, you just keep the same post and put a different sculpture up. The actual pipe here, I probably haven't shown you the bottom yet, but underneath it's not blanked off. It's actually completely hollow. So do not blank it off, because if you blank it, it'll go down and stop, and that's as far as it'll go. It needs to slide over the actual sand, and the sand will push up inside it. It creates like a little vacuum system, and it gets inside, and that's how you can shimmy it down. Don't blank the bottom off. If you're installing aluminium artworks on the beach or near the ocean area, a small block here, this is called a zinc anode. It stops the aluminium corroding and creating electrolysis on the beach. We have installed artworks before, and on a 1 week period we've had artworks almost severed through just from electrolysis. So this block stops the corrosion. It's the same things they use on boats. All boats, every boat that's in the ocean that's aluminium has these all over the boats to stop it corroding, otherwise they'd sink within a few weeks. Another important note, if you don't want your artwork falling over, all boat shops sell them. They dime a dozen. All different sizes, different styles. That's about the smallest you can get. You can make them yourself with a block of zinc. You can cut it up, whatever, smaller. So long as it's on there, your artwork won't fall over. We're just going back a little bit here. With your scissor shovels, you can get these basically from Bunnings. Any hardware shops have got them. You can get good ones, you can get cheap ones. It's up to you what you want to spend. This isn't a particularly expensive one because I don't do huge amounts of digging with it. For where I live, we need a bit heavier equipment for what I do, but beach work, this is brilliant. Removing it all is basically the exact reverse of everything we just did. You put your bolts back in again, and the reason there's a long handle on it, because after about a week, these things are going to set in the ground quite solidly. The water that flows from the water table level below will really bite hold of this actual surface, and that's why you have the long handle at the top, because when it's on the ground, you may even need a second person on the other side of you, one this way and one, and turning it. Once you break that initial seal, you'll just be able to lift, and you'll hear the air sucking from here, and it will just come out like a big syringe out of the ground. So, and you'll hear the air pouring out, and that's your artwork up, gone, done. You're in your car again, and you're off again in about 20 minutes. So the pipe that I use for the pillars that we have, this is an 8-inch pipe, standard pipe. It's a thin wall. It's about 4 or 5 millimeters thick, standard gauge. Measures about 220 millimeters diameter, and that'll hold up quite a substantial item at 1 meter deep, and that's about the depth you're going to need for your artwork. Small statues in this, 1 meter deep is probably a bit much, but if that's what they ask for, that's what you've got to supply for them. Yeah, so this is just a little offcut. You can get this materials pre-cut from a place in DeCandelo's Metals in Bayswater. You tell them what length you want, they can cut it. As for the top plates, these are just leftover laser cut pieces from DeCandelo's. There's a scrap bin there. You can get them for $1 a kilogram. You can buy any thickness, but generally get it at least 6 millimeters thick, because if you're going to put bolts into it, you need something for the actual thread to actually bite onto. 8 millimeters thick is better, 10 is even better, but it all depends what they've got in their bin on the day. They get thrown out once a week or once a month, so you only need to buy one anyway, because you're making one pylon will last you for years. So now you're putting the pylon in the ground, and you've dug your hole, you've put it down to the ground level, and you stand back and go, it doesn't look level. So you get your old spirit level, and you look it up there, and you go, oh, it's not level. So you try to push it over. You try and get that best you can before you stick your artwork up, because if your artwork needs to be dead vertical, this is going to change things. If you put it in the ground and realise that it's not so level, there's not the end of the world. You can start using shims. You can actually get the little shims. You can work out how much it needs to come up. You can get the level, get it up, put your shims under here. That's not quite enough. You get the next size up shim. These shims here can be bought from Bunnings. You can get small ones and that sort of thing. They're only like 20 cents each. And that's it there. We've now got a perfectly level surface in that direction. You do the same in the other way. Same in that direction. And once again, it's perfectly level with those two shims there. Put your artwork back on again, bolt it up, and you know it's going to be spot on. But make sure when you build your artwork that your actual base is square too. That's another thing, because if it's not, it doesn't matter how much you level this up, if your base isn't square to your shaft, it's not going to stand straight up and down. But some people don't want it up and down, they want it on an angle, so you just build it how you wish. But yeah. You can make these pylons perfectly fine yourself. Like I said, you just buy a length of material. They'll cut it to the length you require. You only pay for what you use. This here is just welded on, a few stitch welds around here. I suggest drilling your plate first and putting your bolt holes in, ready to take your statue or artwork or whatever you're doing, rather than trying to do it after it's built, because trying to get this in a drill press sometimes to actually drill the holes can be difficult. So drill your plate first to suit over your holes, weld it on. If you haven't got the skills to weld it on, you can ask someone that has, or actually this is what I do sort of like for a living as well, as I build things for people, artwork, structures and installation things. I can do that sort of work for you as well, so don't feel frightened to ask, but we can do it for you. These pylons here, the plates cost you $1 for the top plates. Drilling, I can't really give a quote on drilling at the moment, but it all depends how your structure is going to be. It's not super expensive. The material alone, that would probably be about a $60 or $70 piece of material. They may even have offcuts there. You might walk in, there's a piece on the floor, which happens all the time. You go into the shop and there's a piece on the floor, it's that much too long. And you go, I'll have that piece there. They charge you scrap value for it. You bring it home. If the Castaways ask for a metre long, you cut it to the metre height. You can use a grinder. Cutting this stuff's very easy with a grinder with a 1mm cutting wheel. And you'll probably get away with $50 to $60, $70 for a piece. Yes, it has to be round, because if you're trying to get it in the ground with a square post, square things don't like going in a round hole very easy, so you won't better rotate it as easy. Well, you could use a square post, but you can't spin it. If you can spin it, twist it and turn it, it will just shimmy its way down sort of thing, and it's a lot easier to get in and out again. A high water table, like if you dig into the ground, if you're right on the beach where the water's lapping up, as soon as you dig into the ground, you're going to start getting into water. Now, to get this post a metre in the ground is going to be quite difficult, but there is one option you can do, is to actually just grind little V's in here, like little teeth. So you'll actually put it on the bottom, this is the bottom of the post, and when you're carving in, it will actually carve its own path down into the really wet sand. Then when you're turning it in with your handle, it will actually sawtooth its way through the sand and actually get deeper into the sand. Wet sand is the hardest. You can't, because you just can't keep digging. It just wants to keep falling in. So there's no point trying to dig a massive big hole, because you're never going to get there. You basically just have to shimmy these posts in. You may even have to do a test install one day. Take one out. You may even need to get a smaller post and have two, one there, and create a bridge between the two to mount your artwork on. A small 6-inch one is a lot easier to get in than a big 8-inch one. So you have to think about it, trial something. Not everything's a given, just trial and error. After you've removed your post, you've got everything out of the ground, and you've got your artwork on your ute, and you've done a great job, and you've won your prize, and that's awesome. But remember to fill the hole in, because we don't want anyone falling down it, because there will be a lovely hole that fits a leg perfectly. So fill the hole in and rake it over like you were never there. Good luck with your entry, and hope to see everything works out for you, and hope you do well, and maybe I'll see you around there. Thank you.
That video obviously gives you all the materials that you need to make that if you want to as well. And to be honest, 90% of people use that method now. There's very few people who don't use that method to install now because it is just so much faster. And a number of people have had Stuart make their pylon for them. So if you don't feel you could make one yourself, you know, don't hesitate to ask him to make one for you. Okay, so before the selection panel meets, I will assess any potential issues with every entry. I might contact you by email or phone with questions about your work. Your answers to these questions will be documented for the selection panel to discuss. The selection panel consists of the curator, representatives from the City of Rockingham, and 2 independent panellists. Their decision is final and no discussion will be entered into following their decision. Installing in the main exhibition. So it's important to adhere to the deadlines leading up to the exhibition. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Prior to install day, you will be asked to nominate your arrival time for the arrival roster. If you're going to be late, you need once again contact me. You'll be asked for the registration number of the car delivering your work and the mobile number of the driver. Registration numbers will be checked by traffic management on arrival, and only 4-wheel drives will be allowed to drive onto the beach. So you'll be asked if you want to drive onto the beach whether your car is in fact a 4-wheel drive. Access to the beach and other areas is for drop-off only. You need to drop off your work, go and park, and drop off everything you need, all your tools and whatever you need, and then come back and install on the beach. Access is only available on the beach until 12 on that day, and artworks not installed by 4 p.m. on that day won't be judged. Audio elements, once again, need to be approved, and there is another form for that. And artworks in waterways also require another form as well. We have had works in the water a number of times, and they're certainly fun. And the position of works is determined by the curator in the City of Rockingham. So once you've been allocated your spot, that is it. This is just an example of what you will get before installation day. So this is a map of the exhibition. You can see that you've got numbers and names down the bottom there on the beach, and we have a schools competition which is on on Churchill Park nearby. So you can see there's also little arrows on each circle which tell you which direction your work should face when you arrive. So you'll get that beforehand. You'll also get it on arrival as well, this type of map. And you can see up on the left-hand side, there's a map of where to park after you've dropped off your work. So there's plenty of parking behind Rockingham Arts Centre, which is only a block or so away. So judges will consider originality, as the artist used materials creatively. Is the work aesthetically engaging? Does the work represent overall excellence in recycled sculpture? Does the work represent outstanding technical skill and outstanding concept and design? They'll check if you've definitely used at least 65% of recycled material, and they'll check if you're wanting to enter the major prize that there is 30% visual aluminium in the work. So public programs during the exhibition, free artist talks. People love to talk to artists during the exhibition. And for artists, it provides an opportunity to flesh out all the concepts behind your work. So all artists in the main exhibition are invited to give an artist talk on the weekends of Castaways. So these are held next to your work, and I will be there with you. If you're not very used to giving artist talks, don't panic. I will be there to help you along. We also have a professional development session, which is on the first Sunday at Rockingham Arts Centre, and these will be speakers. Who in the past we've had artists who are very experienced in public art commissions and that kind of thing. They're really, this development session is really worth attending. with industry tips and tricks from me as well. There's tactile tours during the exhibition for people with disabilities. There's a VIP tour for prospective buyers, and there are guided schools tours during the week as well. Resources. Capral has skip bins of aluminium offcuts available for free, but you need to have been selected for exhibition to be able to access this. You can't contact them directly. They're really not interested in talking to you unless you've been selected. But generally, Capral have been fantastic in providing free aluminium for artists, but also delivering it free of charge, which has been quite amazing. So yeah, it's worth thinking about. Rockingham Beach Cleans. They have a wide array of stuff picked up from the beach, worth contacting them as well. Remeda, a lot of people might know about Remeda, but who really have probably small scale recycled materials, not so much large scale. There's contact details for me and the city. And yeah, we look forward to receiving your entry.